So, you're thinking about a career in psychology in India? That's fantastic. You're in exactly the right place. It's a field with just incredible potential. But let's be real. Figuring out that first step can feel like you're trying to solve a giant puzzle. Well, that's exactly what we're going to do today. Think of this as your map.
I get it. You're fascinated by the human mind, but then you see this long list of specializations. Clinical, cognitive, IO, counseling, and it just feels overwhelming, right? Which path is the right one for you? Don't worry, in this explainer, we are going to break it all down.
Okay, so here's how we're going to tackle this. First, we'll look at the big picture of psychology in India. Then, we'll get into the nitty-gritty of your options by making a really crucial distinction between theory and practice. We'll explore both sides, and by the end, you'll have a super clear framework to help you make your choice.
You know, to really get a feel for where psychology is heading in India, it kind of helps to know where it's been. The field has such a rich history here, growing from these ancient philosophical traditions into the modern-day applied science it is now, one that touches, well, pretty much everything, from mental health and education to corporate boardrooms.
All right, now this next part, this is absolutely crucial for understanding all of your options. At the heart of every single choice in psychology, there's this fundamental split. Are you more drawn to the theoretical branches that ask why, or the more applied fields that are all about how we can help?
And this slide really breaks it down for us. On one side, you've got the branches. This is the world of research, of science, of academics, really getting into the why and how of human behavior. And on the other side, the fields. This is all about application. It's about asking, okay, what can we do with this knowledge to solve actual, real-world problems?
All right, so let's dive into the branches first. A good way to think of these is as the different lenses you can use to investigate the human mind. This is really for those of you who just love digging deep, running studies, and answering those big, fundamental questions.
Okay, first up we have cognitive psychology. This is all about our mental processes. You know, memory, attention, how we make decisions. And you know what? In India, this field is exploding right now, especially with its connections to the tech sector, influencing everything from AI development to user experience design. Then you've got social psychology, which looks at how our thoughts and behaviors are shaped by the people around us. It's absolutely essential for understanding the unique social dynamics we have in India. I mean, it gives you deep insights into everything from intergroup relations to why people buy what they buy. And developmental psychology. That's all about how we grow and change throughout our entire lives. Think about it. Researchers in India are doing incredibly important work here, studying childhood development in such a diverse society and figuring out the needs of an aging population as our family structures continue to evolve.
All right, let's switch gears. We're moving from the why to the what now. This is where we get into the fields. This is where the rubber meets the road, where you take psychological principles and apply them directly to help people and organizations not just survive, but thrive.
Let's start with the big one. Clinical psychology. Now, the most important thing you need to know right off the bat is that in India, this is a regulated profession, and that's a really big deal. It comes with specific legal requirements, mainly because clinical psychologists are trained to diagnose and treat serious mental illnesses.
So to become a licensed clinical psychologist, you're looking at a specific 2-year M.Phil degree after you've already completed your master's. It's a huge commitment, for sure, but it's there for a good reason, to make sure there's a high standard of care for the public.
And it's not just any M.Phil. It has to be from an institution recognized by the Rehabilitation Council of India, or the RCI. They're the governing body, and only graduates they recognize can legally register and actually call themselves a clinical psychologist. Now, on the flip side, you have counseling psychology. This typically focuses on helping people navigate more of the everyday life challenges, things like stress, big career decisions, relationship issues. So because the focus is a bit different, it isn't as rigidly regulated as clinical psychology, which means there are often more flexible ways to get into the profession.
Next up, industrial organizational, or IO psychology. This is all about applying psychology to the workplace. We're talking improving hiring processes, developing leaders, building better teams. With India's corporate sector just booming, demand for IO psychologists is through the roof, especially in hubs like Bengaluru and Gurgaon.
And trust me, the options do not stop there. For example, school psychology is about to get a huge boost, thanks to the National Education Policy 2020 really emphasizing student well-being. Health psychology is becoming so critical for managing lifestyle diseases. And look, in a nation of 1.4 billion people, community psychology, which looks at mental health at a huge, systemic level, is more important than ever. So, we've looked at the world of theory and the world of practice. We've laid out all these different options. So, with all of this on the table, how in the world do you actually choose? Let's walk through a practical toolkit that's going to help you decide.
Okay, here are 5 key things you really need to ask yourself. 1. What are you truly, genuinely passionate about? 2. What's the reality of the training involved? How much time and money will it take? 3. Are you prepared for the whole licensing process? 4. What does the job market actually look like? And 5. What kind of lifestyle and work-life balance are you really hoping for?
So look, this table gives you a great example of how you can start weighing these things. Using a sample scoring system, you can see how clinical might score super high on interest, but a lot lower on things like training feasibility. Meanwhile, IO psychology scores really high on market demand and flexibility. But here's the thing you have to remember. This is just a model. Your personal interest score, that's the most important number on this entire chart.
So what's the ultimate takeaway here? Well, your journey starts right now. And the key is to find that sweet spot, right? That perfect balance between what you're passionate about and, well, the practical realities of building a career right here in India.
So if you're going to take away just a couple of things, let it be this. First, really understand that crucial difference between the theoretical branches and the applied fields. And second, always remember that in India, context is king. Your choice is basically a conversation between your own interests and the real-world practicalities of licensing, training, and job demand. And I want to leave you with a final thought. As India keeps evolving, with new technologies, huge social shifts, and new public health challenges, which of these fields do you think is going to be the most critical for our country's future? The path you choose today could very well help shape that answer tomorrow.